Ocon and Gasly, a ticking bomb, only a matter of time. Drama on its way. Man, 2022 isn't even finished yet, and we're already talking about the next season. But hey, if that's what you want, that's what we give. Today's video is about Gasly and Ocon, and why having them both as teammates could just be a ticking bomb for the Alpine team. We're going to be looking over their history as friends, why their relationship has steadily worsened over the years, and all the drama behind this driver's move, which will hopefully be resolved by the beginning of next year's season. So let's begin. All French disaster coming. So let's start off by recapping how we got to this point. Despite Gasly already having signed the contract for 2023 with AlphaTauri, he was hired by the Alpine F1 team to be their new driver. But how did he avoid driving for the Red Bull sister team for another year if he already had a contract? Well, Alpine executives, being the spoiled French people that they are, just bought his contract with AlphaTauri for a measly $10 million. Because you simply don't say no to French people. They did this since he is a young and competitive driver, and as a marketing stunt, making their team French in all of the possible aspects, from the place where their factories are made to where their drivers come from. And even though France is pretty big, the chances lines up perfectly, as these two guys have known each other since they were little kids. I mean, how probable is that? These two, according to an interview made to Pierre in 2018, have known each other for 20 of their 26 years on this earth. But let's start from the very beginning. The beginning of the end. Both born in Normandy, France, these two didn't really have any way of knowing each other before the start of their friendship. Their parents weren't friends, they didn't live in the same neighborhood, and they didn't go to the same school. Their friendship started, in fact, when Esteban wanted to buy a go-kart at the age of 6. So he bought it used from one of Pierre's big brothers. Since young Pierre also wanted to try karting, they once went out on track together and never stopped. They kept go-karting, especially in the weekends, on this not-known karting track where most of the times it was just them racing each other. They karted in every condition, from sun to snow, and in the winter when it was really cold. Most of the times after the sessions, they would go to the back of their truck to be cozy for about 15 minutes near the heater after restarting everything again. But if their friendship looked so strong back then, how is it possible that today they don't really like each other? Well, everything started going downhill when they both started racing competitively, since most of the times they were racing each other in the same category. The race that made their friendship degenerate was the 2009 Bridgestone Cup, a karting competition in which the two made contact while racing for the podium. From then on, they started being more aggressive with each other whenever it was possible, and it was possible a lot of the times. In fact, the two raced in the National Championship, European Championship, and even the World Cup together, meaning they developed a sort of envy for each other that made them not think clearly. Like this one time when in Portugal 2010 during the pre-finale, which is like qualifying in Formula 1 but for karts, since Pierre was going to start third, Esteban clearly cut the track, going onto the grass to hit his rival. Fun fact, the race was later won by Alex Albon, while Verstappen arrived second and Leclerc arrived last of the finishers. Man, that championship was like baby Formula 1. Same competitiveness, different performance. Going back to Ocon and Gasly, did things get any better for them? No, not really, to be honest. Even though it's clear that they both respect each other as racing drivers, especially after their wins in Monza and Hungary in 2020 and 2021, respectively, they both know that they are not each other's friends. They are only there for a professional reason, and that's what they'll stick to, being co-workers with equal car. And even though they declared to the press that they do not have any opinions on the other party, it's clear that they don't like each other that much. One kind of weird example of this was right after the Cannes festival ended. They posted a picture as a way to thank the organization that invited them. They posted the same picture, probably one of the few that were taken of them, where they were together and with other famous actors. The weird thing, they cropped each other out. Literally. They posted the half of the picture that they were in, leaving the other driver out of their Instagram profile. We can easily tell this because they both included the same person with the same dress in the photo. How weird celebrities get is something that always amazes me. Team tensions rising. Getting back on track, we haven't really seen these two drivers battle out on track like they used to during their karting days, and that is most probably because of Alpine's astonishing performance this season, currently being 4th in the Constructors' Championship thanks to their great in-house developed engine, and due to AlphaTauri's incredible car this season. Yep, AlphaTauri's incredibly bad car. How they went from being 6th in the Constructors' standings in 2021, with over 140 points total, to their current 9th out of 10 with 30 points with 2 races to go is a mystery only they can answer. That said, it's clear how much they're struggling, and even if in 2020 they were really competitive, Alpine wasn't really on the same level or vice versa, depending on the race we're talking about. The sad truth is that even if the two had crashed while fighting, they are such midfielders that most of the general public wouldn't have cared. When there is a crash among backmarkers, everyone is happy since usually nothing happens back there. If there's a crash at the front, it's pure chaos for the fans of the involved teams. If there's a crash in the midfield, it's usually just a safety car, no remorse nor feeling bad. It will surely be interesting to see if some battles will happen in the future between these two. As they are now in the same car, it wouldn't be that difficult to expect the same level of performance between the two at pretty much every race. The fact is that Pierre Gasly is probably going to suffer a bit in the opening rounds of the championship to understand his new car and get to grips with it. But then he is surely going to play catch-up with Ocon, who we know can many times be a bit of a dirty driver when it comes to defending from faster teammates. At the end, that's just how Esteban's nature is. He is surely going to get bred for his teeth against a hard racer like Gasly. Woz is just like Ocon, a race winner, meaning he surely knows how to cope under pressure. The fact that he is moving away from a bad team is also a sign of how much he is interested in fighting at the front, and he's surely not going to let any teammate stop him from being at his top form. Hiring Pierre probably wasn't the right move for Alpine either, since despite the marketing stunt of an all-French team, could end up with a team where no one gives the slipstream to each other, or even worse, a team where the two drivers are a bit dirty with each other and end up crashing. Ask Mercedes, they know something about this. This means potential points wasted, and knowing that next season a new upcoming talent is going to drive for McLaren, and given how close the fight between these two is this season, this could end up ruining their chances of another 4th place finish in the Constructors. We also know that they didn't have much choice either, since the young McLaren prospect was supposed to drive for them at the beginning of silly season, and it's sure that having 2 drivers with bad blood between them is better than having just one doing all the work, although it would really be interesting to see how a one-driver team could perform. Crash expected, only a matter of time. So, is it all for nothing? No, surely not. Alpine knew what they were signing up for, so it's in their best interest to make these 2 drivers cooperate with each other really well. Them crashing or taking each other out in some races is something that we must expect given their past and how they relate to each other. But other than that, this could just end up making the 2 drivers friends again, just like what happened in 2014 when Hamilton joined Rosberg at Mercedes. So, what do you think? Will Ocon and Gasly get along well? Will we see one of them dominate the racing scene over the other? Let us know with a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe, because at 10,000 subscribers, we're going to try to become Alpine reserve drivers, so that if something like this happens again in the future, we could drive for the team. No, not really, but you should subscribe anyway.